Marvel Rivals has a total of 44 characters currently in the roster. It's about to have 45 as of next week with the release of Rogue in Season 5.5. However, with such a large roster of many diverse characters in terms of playstyle, it just kind of begs the question of a few things. One of those few things being, which character is the most boring to play in Marvel Rivals? Now before I get on with this video, everything here is completely subjective, okay? Something that could be fun to someone else is unfun to someone else, and something unfun to somebody else is fun to somebody else. This isn't me going out of my way to make a personal attack on you if you play any of these characters or find any enjoyment in them. This is all just my opinion on who I feel is just the least engaging hero to play as. Now without further ado, let's just get on to the video. So Netease is kind of a funny thing because I see a lot of people be conflicted when it comes to his playstyle and whether he's fun or not. However, one thing's for sure is he is so annoying. That guy is so annoying, especially when he has his team ups. Don't even get me started on that. However, this isn't about his potency as a character. This is just more so about his playstyle. And a lot of people will say that he's very basic to use, very easy, very simple. Pretty much he does just throw his squids out there and they kind of do 50% of the work he does. Netease is definitely one of those AI assisted characters. However, I know this video is me talking about the most boring characters in Marvel Rivals, but that's not to say that just because Netease is quite simple doesn't mean he's not fun to use. Now overall, do I find Netease to be quite boring to play as? Yes. To me in general, the playstyle of throwing turrets or like 2 turret-like things out there and having them do most of the work for you while you just kind of chuck things at the enemy is not as engaging as other DPS characters in the game. However, here's the kicker here. There is a time when Netease is the absolute funnest, at least when it comes to you playing the character themselves, and that is when the enemy team goes dive and they don't ban Netease in competitive. This includes characters like Black Panther, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Captain America, and however many other dive characters there are in the game. Running Netease into a dive composition is like the most euphoric thing you can think of, especially when you see the light fade before your enemy's eyes. Oh my god, it is so salivating. Look, I know I sound like a psychopath here, but the amount of times where you get like certain dive characters that are just on your backline, especially if you're a strategist, it can be kind of brutal, let's be honest here. So whenever you get a DPS or when you yourself go Netease and someone else takes your place as a strategist, Netease becomes the funnest character ever. Like there's nothing in the game that you can play that will match that level of engagement and euphoria, at least until the enemy swaps though. However, outside of that scenario, it doesn't help that Netease in general is unfun to play against, especially when he has that hella team up where he just gets a 3rd squid. It's honestly some of the corniest behavior, and so I don't blame DPS or dive characters that are like Netease, because whoever's picking Netease is legit doing it just to go against you. They are literally picking a ChatGPT character just for you, just to ruin your fun character's playstyle, and it's like, yeah, it sucks. So I know this one's going to be a little controversial, so don't skip over it, don't dislike already, but I wanted to talk about Rocket Raccoon. I will admit, when it comes to strategist, which is the role I play the least in the game, he's definitely the character that I personally have the least fun with. However, I can see people having fun with that character, especially with his funky rat mobility. For me, the problem with Rocket for me is that he's either shooting his primary fire or he's just, heal botting. And especially with this recent season patch, Netease is kind of encouraging the heal bot playstyle with Rocket Raccoon. Now, I know people, like I said before, they can mention his mobility, that's kind of fun, and I can agree with you, it's fun moving around like a rat and being hard to hit, but for me, it's just not enough to be an engaging character. Like, I feel like Rocket Raccoon he's good, right? He is a good support because of what he outputs, but in terms of a design of engagement, I feel like he just lacks something. Like, I feel like he is a near perfect design for what he wants to be, but he's just missing 1 or 2 things, and even I can't really tell you what those 2 things could be. I just feel like he's missing something, like he feels incomplete, because for the most part, you could either be just doing left click or right click with that character. Your BRB is just kind of a passive thing you just toss aside in a position where the enemies don't see it, and your dashes are there for escapes and, just in case you're being dove move on or just attacked in general. Now I know people can say something like, oh, Mantis does the same thing. Is she boring too? Not really. I think Mantis is more engaging than Rocket Raccoon simply because Mantis, you kind of have to track people. There's sort of this like layer of being more aware than you would be as a Rocket Raccoon, because not only do you have to keep an eye for people that are critical, but you also have a meter to see when your seeds expire. So it kind of gives you that multitasking affair going on. To me, I feel like there's more satisfaction in damage boosting allies as well as damage boosting yourself so that you can dish out to the enemy while also keeping your team alive with like these passive seeds. You just seem to be juggling a lot more than if you were playing Rocket Raccoon. However, like I said, if you find Rocket to be fun, that's absolutely fine, because there was a comment in a video, which I already forgot which video it was, but there was an interesting comment where I was talking about Rocket Raccoon being sort of boring, to me at least, and somebody described Rocket as, I think the term was a grandpa character, where it's a character where it's kind of simple by design on purpose, made for people who don't necessarily want to put in as much time into the game as anyone else or can't. Now, I'm not saying if you play Marvel Rivals all day every day and you still pick Rocket that you should be shamed for it. It's just more so that I'm starting to realize that maybe Rocket's kit is the way it is as intended. Maybe his movement is enough for some people to be satisfied with his playstyle. And honestly, if that's the case, Netease, please revert his movement changes. Please just do it for the Rocket mains out there. They've been begging ever since that change. Just do it. You owe it to them. Just do it. Just to cut into this video quickly, I wanted to make sure to give you guys a reminder to like, share, and subscribe. I know it's annoying to be hearing that, but it's this thing called call to action. It's some mumbo jumbo YouTube stuff, so I hope you guys don't take too much offense to it. But yeah, just like, share, and subscribe means the world to me. And let's just get back to the video. Okay, so Moon Knight. I got a bone to pick with you Moon Knight players. Moon Knights do not think, I swear to God, they just throw stuff out there and they just cross their fingers and their toes and they pray to Khonshu and they just get the kills, they get the value. And that's the worst part about Moon Knight. Not only is his playstyle not engaging to me at least, but he's so good right now. The man gets his ult the fastest out of any other character in the game. Like, I kid you not, whenever a match starts, within 50 seconds, depending if the enemy has Moon Knight and where they're positioned, they already have ult. Do you guys remember when Moon Knight's ult used to be the size of 7 football fields? That was not fun. I think Moon Knight is one of those characters where I think even more so than dive characters, I think, well, okay, let me hold on there. But I think he's one of those characters where he is so unfun to play against as much as how unfun he is to play as. Like, to me, I feel like what makes a character fun is an amount of skill that you need to do, that you need to hone and improve in order to see, obviously better results with a character. I feel like Moon Knight is one of those characters where as long as you have thumbs, you're good. To all you Moon Knight players, again, this isn't an attack, but I'm going to need you guys to explain to me in the comment section below what makes that character so fun for you, because I will admit that I am ignorant on that subject because I don't find that character engaging. In turn, I don't play him. So I really just kind of want to open my mind and see how people enjoy certain characters that I don't. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'll start playing Moon Knight, maybe I'll have fun with him. For all I know, it could be a situation like Namor, like I said earlier, where if you get value, that's fun enough for you regardless of how the character is design wise. But that's enough about Moon Knight. Let's just move on to the next character. Now onto Scarlet Witch. I feel like she is definitely the most funny hero when it comes to watching somebody play Scarlet Witch. Because for the most part, when you're playing her, do I need to explain? For those of you who played Overwatch, Scarlet Witch is the Moira player's dream. With the primary fire that Wanda has, I just cannot fathom how somebody would find her to be fun. Like, I feel like her cooldowns are a lot more engaging than her actual neutral play, which is a little bizarre. And it doesn't even help that Wanda is consistently one of the worst characters in the game. So not only do you have to play a hero that is not engaging, you're going to have to be playing a hero that is bad. It's a double whammy. You take 2 and 2 and it's like, how could anyone possibly have fun with this character? And to me, it kind of sucks because I think Wanda in lore, first of all, she's one of the most powerful characters out there. So it's kind of funny seeing her be one of the weakest characters in Marvel Rivals. But I feel like Wanda as a character just had so much more potential than just being DPS Moira. And I feel like Netease kind of dropped the ball there. However, like I brought up earlier with Rocket Raccoon with the grandpa characters, I feel like Wanda is definitely one of those characters. But unlike Rocket has a bit more engagement than Wanda. I know that's crazy, right, that I'm saying that. And that's because Rocket is still useful. You can have fun just being useful. But Wanda, dude, You can't be useful with Wanda. I'm sorry. You can have Wanda Lord. You just can't be useful as Wanda compared to any other character that you could pick on the Duelist roster. You just can't. Like, Wanda's playstyle isn't even worth the value she gets at. Earlier when I talked about Namor, he's very simple. A lot of people do find him boring, including myself. However, Namor has a lot of value that you can find some sort of joy in it. Wanda does not. And I've seen people say, oh, I'll go, Wanda against the Spider-Man, especially when they do ban Namor. And it's like, I'm sorry, like, you're just not bringing enough to the table if you're picking Wanda in general. So to Wanda mains out there, I'm sorry. The character is so boring. But I guess to you guys, it's not, which is why you guys are mains in the first place. So don't let my opinion devalue your enjoyment or experience overall. You guys can just keep on keeping on, keep doing what you're doing, and just don't mind me. All I'm asking for Netease is for Wanda to be a little bit more viable, and this isn't just about like, increasing the damage numbers of certain things. I think she should get an extra effect where whoever she sucks the most gets like a meter above their heads, much like how Phoenix does it. But instead of Phoenix doing like an AoE damage at the end, Wanda sticks to being just individual damage, nothing about AoE or anything like that. I feel like that would at least give some sort of a little bit more flavor to her and just add a layer of engagement that she just currently doesn't have. Honestly, if there's a character that I would really love to be reworked in more rivals, it is Scarlet Witch by far, because she just has such a versatile toolkit when it comes to her lore that it just kind of sucks that they just devolved her into being Suck-a-Lady. But that's me getting on another tangent. Let's just move on. These next ones I'm gonna speed a little bit more because I've talked about my opinions on them in past videos, so I'll do it clear cut. Cloak and Dagger, she's just Wanda if she was a strategist and useful. I don't think Cloak and Dagger is the most engaging strategist, at least compared to the other ones, especially characters like Sue and Gambit. I even think Mantis is funner. I even think Loki's funner. To me, I feel like personally, there's just something so boring about characters that kind of play for you. And again, this isn't anything against our Cloak and Dagger players. I know there's a lot of them out there, and it's not to say Cloak and Dagger is like a bad strategist. I mean, she definitely is on the weaker end now that the meta has shifted. I would say she reminds me of Wanda, but isn't quite like her when it comes to the state of her in the game. The next character is Ultron. I don't even feel like I need to even go further with Ultron. I feel like everyone watching understands what makes Ultron so boring, especially considering his role. I'll just sum it up so this part doesn't go as long. I described it as he gives you a cookie, which is the drone, pats you on the head, then leaves and does his own thing. Ultron is the dad that leaves you as a kid and occasionally comes back before leaving again. So the last character is Squirrel Girl. I've seen a lot of people just say that Squirrel Girl's kind of mindless. She doesn't require any skill. She just chucks things out, which I agree with. However, this part, I know it's gonna the audacity of me to say this after everything else I said before. I think she's kind of fun. I know. It's almost taboo to say that Squirrel Girl can be fun to some extent in any way, shape, or form. But I do want to be honest, and I do find some enjoyment in Squirrel Girl, right? Now, is she the funnest duelist, or is she even like top 10 funnest duelist? No, but there's just something satisfying about like nutting on the enemy team, specifically like tanks like Venom or Thing or, big bodied characters. And I don't know why that does it for me, it's mostly because there's a lot of tanks like that, like when you get the Hulks, when you get the Things, the Thors, which, I mean, they're going through their own stuff right now. But I don't know, being able to stun characters back to back is just, it's diabolical almost. Now, I know she's not the best character, but especially when you're climbing those lower ranks to metal ranks, which is probably the only ranks you can use her, which is why I haven't been using her for a long time. She's pretty fun, especially because people fall for a lot of her tricks. However, she is a pretty courting character, and if you're gonna try to be playing her in the higher levels, you're just not gonna have a fun time. She's just gonna be completely boring and not that useful. So that's why I kind of wanted to put her on this list. But yeah, that should do it for today's video. I just wanted to make a quick, summary of a few characters that I find personally boring and that a lot of people also find boring. And again, boring is subjective. You can have fun with these characters through and through, which is totally fine. It's just, I don't know how you could. I guess I did describe that Squirrel Girl is kind of fun to some extent, as well as Namor and, stuff like that. So I guess it's not too outlandish to think that there are people that do find these characters really fun. But yeah, that'll do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll have a few more videos out this week, but in the meantime, like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and leave a comment down below on characters that you find personally boring, or characters that other people find boring that you actually find to be quite enjoyable. I'm really eager to see what you guys say in the comment section below. So for now, until next time, take care and peace.